2014 AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame inductee, Tom White. In 1975, this one-page, typewritten catalog boasting of approximately 6 items for sale for the motorcycle aftermarket officially marked the beginning of the White Brothers.
The strategy in the beginning for the business was basically we focused early on Yamaha, and we focused on the dirt bikes and mainly motocross and off-road bikes, and tried to have literally every accessory that a customer would want for those bikes.
Over the next 25 years, the company grew that one-page catalog to 30,000 items, 165 employees, and has become a major player in the motorcycle aftermarket industry.
I didn't see ahead like Tom did. You know, he was kind of knowing that that was going to go somewhere. So he said, yeah, my dad's going to answer the phone and do the books. And I'm thinking, mom and pop shop, you know, I got nothing to worry about. So anyway, he took my mechanic and took about half my customers.
It was unbelievable, to be honest with you. I think what we did is we tapped in at a good time in the industry where the bikes that were coming out from the manufacturers still left some improvements to be had.
The impact was great. It was one of the, I would say, of the 3 or 4 people that have had a real major impact on the aftermarket business, he's right up there. He's probably one of the top 2 or 3.
He really taught me a good work ethic. He paid me $2 an hour to label catalogs when I was young, and thanks, Dad. But he, you know, if I was ever late to work 1 minute, he would, you know, make sure I knew that that was unacceptable. I carry that work ethic, you know, with me to this day in my own company.
I think he had a huge impact. Not only was he an employer that employed a lot of people that worked for him and then left and become other people, forces in the industry.
He gave me an opportunity even as a female that it's a man's industry. So I know that I owe that first step to Tom.
But Tom White, the successful businessman, is just half the story. First and foremost, he's a motorcycle racer. In his early 20s, he was among the top motorcycle racers in the country, traveling the West Coast where he earned national number 80 on the flat track circuit.
You know, when I look back, racing is still the most important thing to me, and I think I look back to some of the successes I had as a racer, you know, Castle Rock TT, I won the Castle Rock TT Nationals as a junior, and I had quite a bit of success on that. So I look back and I'm very proud of those dirt track years and that I did that and was one of those guys back then.
In 1976, he married his wife Danny, and together they began raising their family around, of course, motorcycling.
He's probably the most passionate person I know. You know, he loves motorcycles more than anything in the world. Everything is motorcycles to him. I mean, that's been since I was born. I mean, every family vacation we did was somehow focused around motorcycles. Every dinner conversation was somehow focused around motorcycles. He loves motorcycles. I don't think I've ever met anyone who just genuinely loves motorcycles more than him.
That passion was also embraced by his son Brad, who at the age of 6 showed his father a vintage motorcycle.
The collection started in 1984, and it was really fun. My son Brad, who was 6 years old at the time, was out there, and we were racing motocross at Paris Raceway here in Southern California, and there was a guy with a Greaves in the back of his pickup truck, and Brad drags me over to that bike and goes, Dad, that bike is so cool. Why don't we get that bike and you and I can restore it together?
They bought the bike, the first of many restorations, and ultimately the beginning of a major collection. Together, they restored bikes until Brad suffered a near-fatal accident.
That's a good boy. I like that smile.
Although Brad has many physical challenges, it is obvious that he still shares his father's passion for motorcycles, and they still ride together. In 2000, Tom sold White Brothers. He continues to be very active in the motorcycling community, starting with his racing roots.
I don't understand all the hubbub about Tom White. I mean, yes, the guy was a Grand National dirt tracker. He owned a multi-million-dollar business. He gives to charities. He's a great person. Everybody likes him. Nobody hates him. He's been on the AMA Hall of Fame board. I mean, he's done a phenomenal number of things. But I raced with the guy for 40 years. I raced with him last week. He's never given me any charity whatsoever.
And that collection of vintage motocross bikes kept growing to the point where Tom built a museum for them. It is one of the most impressive collections in the country that Tom uses to educate, entertain, and raise money for a variety of causes.
He's a purist as far as motorcycles go, and he puts so much back into, as you look around here, not only to his own personal collection, but the things he does for others. Like on Thanksgiving, have 100 Marines come for dinner. I mean, it's amazing. he really puts back not only into the sport, but in the community.
I've found that having all these bikes, bringing in people, it's just a great place to get together and people to kind of enjoy and celebrate, really the fun years of dirt biking.
For his lifelong commitment to the sport and business of motocross and his dedication to preserving the legacy of motorcycling, the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame proudly welcomes Tom White.